also gives you megalomania, narcissism, and delusions of grandeur.
I'm really rich. I'm like a smart person. I beat China all the time.
Nobody has more respect for women than I do.
To make sure he's accountable for everything he does and says. I feel like it's one thing that he won the presidency, fine, okay, I accept that.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters.
I was scrolling through late night clips when I stumbled on something that made me spit my coffee across the room. Chelsea Handler wasn't just making fun of Trump, she was verbally disassembling him piece by piece, suggesting his 1980s behavior might be explained by syphilis. The studio audience went from nervous laughter to full-on gasps as Handler tore into everything from Trump's failed casinos to calling him a human infomercial for failure. When she got to the part about Melania barely speaking English, even the camera crew seemed shocked at how far she was willing to go when other comedians play it safe. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Ever noticed how most comedians tackle Trump with the same worn-out jokes? While the late-night circuit keeps recycling gags about orange skin and bizarre tweets, Chelsea Handler took a completely different approach. She went for the jugular. When Jimmy Fallon was busy playing nice and tousling Trump's hair like they were old college buddies, and Stephen Colbert was sticking to his predictable political punchlines, Handler was suggesting something far more provocative, that Trump's erratic behavior might be explained by 1980s syphilis. That's not just a joke, that's psychological warfare disguised as comedy.
First on my list of favorite things about Trump, syphilis.
I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you stay categorically?
You are fake news.
Go home to mommy. Go home. Bye. Go home to mommy.
I am pro-life. Hillary Clinton, I think, is a terrific woman.
Replenish the Social
Such a nasty
Security
woman.
Trust Fund.
Not just men and women have to stick together. I think if this has shown us anything, it's that the worst thing or the most unthinkable thing can happen.
The symptoms of syphilis are Exhibit A, patchy hair loss.
Handler didn't waste time on superficial mockery. She elevated the art of the Trump takedown by questioning his very essence, his business acumen, and even his mental stability. While other comedians were tiptoeing around Trump's policies with clever wordplay, Handler was busy comparing him to a raccoon going through a dumpster fire. Except in this case, the dumpster fire is his entire life. That's not just a joke, that's a full character assassination. What really sets Handler apart is her fearlessness in targeting Trump's entire orbit, including Melania. When asked about having the former First Lady on her show, Handler didn't hold back, asking, what would she talk about? She can barely speak English. This kind of unfiltered commentary makes most comedians look like they're playing with safety scissors, while Handler's wielding a chainsaw. The audience reactions tell you everything you need to know about Handler's unique approach. While Fallon and Colbert typically generate comfortable chuckles and predictable applause, Handler's brutal comedy often produces audible gasps and nervous laughter. The kind that says, I can't believe she just said that, and I'm laughing, but I'm also slightly terrified.
The New Republic has a theory that Donald Trump may have contracted syphilis in the 1980s, around the time he looked like this. And Melania looked like this.
And that we have to figure out a way to stand up, and the fact that people are peacefully protesting is good. And we've got to really just figure out a way.
Syphilis also gives you megalomania, narcissism, and delusions of grandeur.
I'm really rich. I'm like a smart person. I beat China all the time.
Nobody has more respect for women than I do.
Syphilis can also make you have paranoid thoughts, like the mainstream media is out to get you, or all Mexicans are rapists. But as the saying goes, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it probably fucked some questionable models in the 80s.
What's fascinating is how Handler completely bypasses the research-heavy approach favored by comedians like Trevor Noah and John Oliver. She's not interested in meticulously dissecting policy failures with charts and graphs. Handler goes straight for the jugular with personal attacks that spare nothing and no one in Trump's world. Perhaps nothing better exemplifies Handler's distinctive style than her description of Trump's infamous hairstyle. While most comedians might make a quick quip about a bad comb-over, Handler described it as a science experiment gone horribly wrong, like a squirrel got caught in a wind tunnel while holding on to a family of blonde guinea pigs for dear life. That's not just a punchline, that's visual poetry designed to haunt Trump's nightmares. Handler's hair jokes were just the warm-up act for her anatomical dissection of the former president. Trump's tiny hands have been a comedy target since the 1980s, but Chelsea Handler wielded this knowledge like a surgeon with a scalpel, except her goal wasn't to heal, but to hilariously humiliate every inch of his physical appearance. After mocking Trump's bizarre hairstyle, Handler moved on to his skin tone with the precision of someone who studied the Pantone color chart just for this roast. She didn't just call him orange like every amateur comedian at an open mic night. No, Handler declared that Trump looks like he lost a wrestling match with a bag of Cheetos, and suggested his color should be taken as a warning sign, like those bright poisonous frogs in the rainforest that scream, "Don't touch me."
Exhibit B, visual problems and squinting. Exhibit C, trouble walking and loss of athletic prowess.
To make sure he's accountable for everything he does and says. I feel like it's one thing that he won the presidency, fine, okay, I accept that.
Syphilis can also make you irritable and manic.
Don't be
You're
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can you
No, I'm
give
not
us a
gonna give you
question?
And finally, syphilis can impair your judgment and memory, which might make someone forget things that they've said in the past. Or a black eye wiretapped your deluxe apartment in the sky.
But Handler wasn't content with standard spray tan mockery. She took it to another level by creating an entire origin story for Trump's peculiar complexion, theorizing it resulted from a tragic accident involving a self-tanner factory and an out-of-control leaf blower. The image of Trump being caught in some kind of industrial self-tanner explosion had audiences howling. Handler's fashion critique was equally merciless. She questioned why Trump's suits appear like they were designed for a man who's been secretly stuffing dinner rolls into his pockets, suggesting he's either preparing for a food shortage or smuggling baked goods from White House dinners. She described his oversized suits as a combination of a parachute and a tablecloth from Mar-a-Lago, adding that if someone ever pulled the ripcord, Trump would be airborne over Florida in seconds.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters. I never said repeal and replace Obamacare. You've all heard my speeches. I never said repeal it and replace it within 64 days. I know words. I have the best words. I have a winning temperament. I know how to win. I'm the least racist person.
Nobody builds walls better than me, believe me.
Actually, I was only kidding. You can get the baby out of here.
Now, I'm not a doctor, so I can't claim Donald Trump has syphilis because of laws.
We will be able to immediately repeal and replace Obamacare. I'm very pro-choice.
Even Trump's unusually long ties couldn't escape Handler's notice. She speculated whether he was hiding classified documents down there, long before the Mar-a-Lago document scandal, or if perhaps the ties served as emergency repelling gear for quick escapes from uncomfortable press conferences. But Handler's most devastating attacks targeted Trump's infamously small hands. She joked that if Trump got lost in a corn maze, his tiny hands wouldn't be able to reach above the stalks, painting a picture of the former president helplessly trapped among vegetables. Perhaps the only time he's been surrounded by them. She compared shaking hands with Trump to a toddler handing you a crayon. Awkward, slightly unsettling, and leaving you questioning how this person has access to nuclear codes. Handler even had time to mock Trump's signature pout, saying he always looks like he just bit into a lemon, and realized it was actually a battery. It's an expression that's become as much a part of his brand as his questionable hairstyle and orange glow. So there you have it. In a comedy landscape where most performers tiptoe around politics with safe jokes, Chelsea Handler stands as the ultimate truth teller. Critics have noticed something important. Her brutal style may be polarizing, but it connects with viewers who are sick and tired of sanitized political humor. When other comedians play it safe, Handler delivers the unfiltered commentary that audiences secretly crave. What makes Handler different isn't just her willingness to go for the jugular, it's that she represents authenticity in a world of carefully calculated punchlines. While her approach won't win everyone over, it offers something refreshing in today's comedy world. Someone who will actually say what many are thinking. In the end, Handler proves there's a real hunger for comedians who skip the niceties and deliver raw, unvarnished takes on political figures. Love her or hate her, at least you know exactly where she stands.